This is how I used the new GitHub MCP server to create a new repo, create a pull request, push files, fork a repo, and even review a pull request without writing a single Git command. These aliases are completely useless now, or are they? Because as great as the GitHub MCP server is, it's not perfect, and I'll tell you more about that later on in the video. But first, let me show you how to set it up in Cursor. So make sure you have Docker installed, go to this repo, copy this code, then in Cursor, go to MCP in the Cursor settings, paste the code you copied, and you're all done. Well, almost done, because you need to add your super secret GitHub access token, which you can get from here. Click Classic, check this box, then add your token. Don't worry, your token is safe here, according to Cursor. After that, you should have a GitHub MCP container running, and Cursor should be happy. But what if you don't want to run a Docker container just to use this? Well, tough luck, because the only other option is to build from source. This is one of the reasons I'm not the biggest fan of the new MCP server, because at least with the old server, you could run it with npx. But more on that later, because right now, we're going to figure out if it's actually faster than using aliases or the GitHub CLI. So first, I'm going to create a new repo called GHMCP test. We're going to make it public, and then we're going to clone it so I have it available locally. Now that's done, let's cd into that repo, and we'll create a new file called index.html. We're going to open it with NeoVim, so we'll find that file, and then paste some HTML code I wrote earlier. We'll save this file and exit NeoVim. Then we'll add this, we'll commit it, and we'll do a git push. We'll give it a message of added index.html file, and oh no, I forgot to do a git push upstream, so we'll do that again. And then we'll create a new branch called feat, short for features. We'll go to NeoVim and open up the index.html file again, and then we'll change the title text to page again. We'll save this, we'll close NeoVim, and we'll check the git status. Then again, we'll add, commit, and push this change, remembering to push upstream. This time we'll say changed the h1 text, wait for that to be done, and then we're going to create a pull request with the title of updated HTML file text, and we'll give it a body of this PR changes the h1 text. We'll wait for that to be done. And finally, we'll add a comment to that PR with a body of tested these changes and everything looks good. Cool. And that's done in just under 2 minutes. And if I go to GitHub, I can see the repo here. Clicking on it shows me the index.html file. And if I click on pull request, I can see my pull request is here along with the text and the comment. And if we try the same task with the GitHub MCP server, instead of typing, I'm going to dictate using the macOS dictate feature, giving it a prompt to create a new public repo with a name, then to clone and open that repo in Cursor, then to create an index.html page with some basic HTML, publish the file to the repo. There are a few spelling mistakes here, but I'm sure the LLM can figure that out. Then create a new branch called feature, change the h1 text of the HTML, push it to the feature branch, and then create a pull request with a specific title and body, and then add a comment to that pull request with the body text I provide. Cool. I think I'm actually going to skip the code generation parts because, well, we don't want to be here all day, but I'm going to make sure it doesn't affect the timing. Okay, so it's used the MCP tool to create the repo. It's now cloning the repo locally using a git command. Then it's going to create an index.html file with some basic HTML content. And after that, it's going to create a feature branch. Then it's updating the h1 text on the feature branch. And it looks like it's had an issue. It hasn't been able to do it. So it's trying again. And it has another issue. So it's trying one more time. Let's actually take a look at what it's trying to do. Okay, this looks good to me, so I'm going to run this command, and it has a few more issues. This time it's going to use git commands directly. It's had one issue with the model, so it's going to try that again, and now it works. Whew, well done, Cursor. So it's going to fetch the feature branch, then update the index.html file, which it should have done earlier. So now it's done this successfully. It's going to commit and push those changes. Then it's going to create a pull request using the MCP tool. And finally, it's going to add a comment to that pull request. Nice. Looks like it's all done. Oh, it took a while, but we can see the repo it created here with the index.html file. And if we check out the pull requests, we can see the text is as we expect. And it also has a comment. Nice. Wow. So it looks like for this specific task, the GitHub MCP server took almost twice as long as using the CLI and Git aliases. Who would have thought? But like I said earlier, I wouldn't recommend using the GitHub MCP server, especially if you're already familiar with Git commands. because unlike the Supabase, Figma, and Playwright MCP servers that are actually useful, you really don't need the full power of an LLM to run a Docker container and to pay $20 a month to Cursor just to fork a repo. I mean, come on, it's not that difficult. In fact, the GitHub MCP server would be more useful if it was doing complex things like removing sensitive data from a series of commits or dealing with a messy rebase. And besides, MCP servers are a security nightmare. If you don't believe me, check out our next video to learn more.